It was the three of us who were arrested, and all of us were police officers. It was like a movie. We are dealing with the cartels. I saw it as an opportunity to start a new life. Time I was at that stage, not knowing actually that there might be repercussions. Prison was a change that I needed. You know, working for the government, I wouldn't lie, or in the police to be specific. I mean, it's a permanent post. You are only going to work there until you reach 60, 65. You take your pensions and you go home, and nature must take its course at the end of the day. My day-to-day tasks as a police officer, you are the ears and the eyes of the government. You must enforce the law. It entails many things. Those are the patrols, the crime prevention, making sure that the South African streets are safe, giving direction to those who are lost, because somewhere, somehow, there are those people still that still regard police as guardian angels. Somewhere, somehow, by just wearing that uniform, moving freely in a public street, people, when they see you, they see somebody who can give them mercy or a direction, who can be just an open and an honest person. Normally, being in policing is an institution that is accompanied by honesty and trust. Being in the police now has now tended to be the most dangerous work ever in South Africa. So I would say that most of the policemen, when they get out of college, they go out with a certain sense of motivation. So I normally tell people that, look, policemen are normal people just like any other normal human being. Inside that uniform, there is a human being with normal desires. So I think my life during that time, I was at that stage, not knowing actually that there might be repercussions. I served until 2008 when I was arrested in my capacity as a policeman. It was just a short-lived career, I think 6 years, yes. I was holding a junior rank as a constable. I was charged with the possession of Schedule 6 medicine. So I was in possession of a scheduled medicine. Just to briefly describe it, it is a legal medicine, but once you carry it in a certain quantity, you must be certificated. Illegally on the street, it's used to manufacture the heroines and the cocaine. It was the three of us who were arrested, and all of us were police officers. My involvement within the supply chain of the drug smuggling, it was not intentional, but I think it was a peer pressure. I was still young. I wanted to prove myself. I was the most energetic. Look, you can even go to the airport now. Those who were working with me, once you say Dumisani, they'll be saying that, how do you know that guy? I was famous because of my, my personal character. I'm an easily to know person. Like, you can speak to me for the first time like you do now, but you can end up having a feeling that you know me for the past 5 years. So I was approached actually because of my charisma. The area where I was working, it was actually a most important channel for those things to be taken out. Even including senior officers as well that were involved, that told me that there is this consignment, don't you have any connection, want to take it out? I now started calculating the figures, how much am I benefiting here? After calculating, I just said to myself that, look, even if I can serve 30 years in the police, I won't get this kind of a pension fund. The night before I got arrested, I just told myself that, look, whether we got arrested or not, I'm no longer a police officer. Taking a look at the figures, how much was going to be my cut, we're talking in terms of millions. And I knew that even if when I work for government for the next 30, 40 years, I won't get those millions. I was so short-minded. I saw it as an opportunity that, look, at least I made a life summary. I can take my millions and go and survive somewhere and start a new life. My family knew nothing about this. They only knew when we came to confirm the addresses that we were under arrest. I remember even my mom just seeing me there with those handcuffs. She just went off and sang a Catholic song. That morning we knocked off as usual. The consignment was there already in our possession because nobody knew. We took it under the false pretense that it is going to be taken for an examination. So you can see that we have abused our power. During that morning when we knocked off, automatically I had a barracks here in Pretoria. So I have like the civilian clothes there ready for me. And then normally the police, when they go to work, they carry civilian clothes in their boots. It was an entrapment, if I can tell you. We just came and stopped. He said that there is a red car. That guy is going to come to us. When we are stopped there, people, they were just buying time. The road where we arrested Jorison and Bogue Street, it is having the side caps on the shoulders of the road. So your car cannot climb and escape. Like, they bracketed us and it's a cul-de-sac. I remember when I parked there, it was next to a park. There were like people who were acting like lovers, others they were cuddling, only to find out after we were stopped, everybody who was in that park is a policeman, including those women who were hugging. Everybody just came to the scene immediately. The cargo was removed from the OR Tambo International Airport during the night shift, and we were only arrested in Sunnyside, Pretoria. The following morning, around about 10 o'clock in the morning, the members of the Pretoria Organized Crime Unit, they were waiting for us, and mostly high-ranking officers. They knew that we were coming. They knew that it was the three of us. It does not mean that they didn't even know where we took these things. They just arrested us immediately at the crime scene. We just laid straight on the tar road. Within 5 minutes, Pretoria News was there. Within 5 minutes, the marked vehicles were there, like the newspapers, everything. That evening at the police holding cells, we were detained here by Pretoria Central SAPS. Like, I was even watching myself on the news that, look, wow, what have I done? That's my car. You know that man, when he announced the news, they show that badge and a firearm and a ballad lab when they want to talk about something that relates to crime. So when he started saying that, Mapodisi ale mararo akwa boema fofane njwa OR Tambo. First of all, I was disappointed. That is to disappoint my late mom. I was raised by a highly Catholic family. Then I thought about my wife, I thought about my children, and my siblings as well. I normally tell people that when you get arrested with crime, it does not mean that is the only thing that you've committed. There might be some other things that you are doing. They call it a man marking. I remember even when my vehicle was stopped, my own private vehicle, because during that time we were off duty, they came from all over the directions. I just thought that, why are these guys driving me like that? It was like a movie. There was this silver BMW that approached me like head to head like this, like it nearly collided with me, because when I changed the lane, it came to my side. I go back to the side it was driven by a white man. And even the hairstyle of a white man, you know, when you look at the white policemen, they are normally with their cars or maybe with bald hair. That one was just like a funky hairstyle. And that person was even a lieutenant from the organized crime unit. So when we stopped, we even said that, look, we are police officers. They said that we know. You know, being naughty, as I've alluded before, that participation of that consignment at the OR Tambo International, I think it was the most dangerous thing that I've ever done in my life. Remember, in this business, we are dealing with the cartels. Those are the people who don't care about your life. They can kidnap your wife, your children, and everything. They can kill. Somebody's looking into you without you being aware that they are following you. In my middle 40s now, when I'm looking back, thinking about me during the year 2008, I sometimes get a faster heartbeat. Then I say, wow, what is it that I was doing actually here? Look, I was involved in that chain. I've been doing other silly things, you know, but somebody was maybe under the influence of alcohol, I mean, that is crime as well. So I wouldn't say that I came out as an angel, then I'm a victim. No, it shows that I lacked the knowledge. Only if I knew how these things are working. At times I said that, how did I listen to this second accused or the third accused? Because amongst us, there was an informer. Amongst us, there was somebody who was busy reporting where we are. Why didn't I say that, look, let's remove this thing from my car and put it in your car? I only know it now, other than during that particular time. I was young. After we gained access to the ephedrine, by the way, because nobody knew, we took it under the false pretense that it is going to be taken for an examination. There was this, not even an argument amongst the three of us, that, look, I phoned somebody who told us that we must not move around with this thing. This is the money that he puts forward as a deposit, and is also going to give us a brand new SLK and the keys and the papers, so that as an assurance that he's going to come back with the balance. So somebody amongst us say that, no, what if this person is robbing us? Maybe this thing is worth 20 million, then he wants to give us 10. Let's rather go to my contact in Pretoria. Then I said that, guys, we didn't pay any money for this thing. We just removed it. You know, your intuition, it tells you that we are going somewhere tonight, and I've ignored the signs. And then we just drove until there were phone calls that were made. And when he was making a call, at some point, I only realized it now that he might not have been talking to somebody who's a buyer. He might have been talking to those senior officers from the organized crime unit. I was arrested very, very, very foolishly so. My first days in prison after I was sentenced, I've been a civilian for 8 years with a pending criminal case, by the way. The presiding officer said in court, the magistrate, he told me that, look, I'm sending you to prison, and the sentence that I'm going to impose, you must consider yourself to be a lucky person. So I'm taking into consideration the 8 years of trial. I was supposed to actually give you a minimum of 15 years imprisonment. So I'm going to give you 4 years due to a good behavior. I only went for 2 years. I was placed on parole. I think prison was a change that I needed. My life would have been a mess. After my days of prison, the relationship that I'm having with money, we got divorced. I wouldn't have been where I am today if it was not because of my mother's prayers, if it was not because of the support that I got from my wife. I've been with my wife ever since. It's like from high school love. I was 20, she was 16 when we met. We were just blessed with 3 children. I keep on asking myself, where would I be? And I so believe that there won't be any other place once again whereby I can get redemption other than being in prison. It is of a common knowledge normally how prison treats us as people who are from law enforcement. When I arrived there, yes, I was given a privilege of being asked, you are in the police, do you want us to lock you alone separately in isolation, this and that? There is nothing special about it. You are only being separated from other people, and of which is too much strenuous. I've denied the offer with the social vibe that I have. I also wanted to see what prison is. I went there, stayed in the section. I stayed with raw criminals. Unfortunately, it was only me who was sent to prison amongst the 3 of us. Accused number 2. And accused number 2 was the actual person who orchestrated everything. The court didn't find him guilty. They said that they didn't talk about him. Then he was out, the person that I'm suspecting. Accused number 3 was found guilty just like me, but he was given a suspended sentence. That means he served outside under correctional supervision. I've met the Paralympian himself. I stayed with Oscar like for almost 6 months. We were like waking up to, hi brother, how's it brother? That is how we became friends even now. Even when I launched my book called The Diary of an Ex-Cop, I went there to visit him and then to give him the copy, you know, the hugs and the emotions that it carries right there. He never even thought of it that I would continue, you know, being the positive person that I was while I was behind bars. You'll normally adjust in a prison environment and start to see things that, look, they're not going to open those doors anytime soon. Once you start accepting, then rehabilitation starts. My entire family had hopes in me. My elderly brother was planning to take his funds and buy me like a quantum because I'll be having a criminal record whereby when I get out, I must at least make some special. That was so touching, eh? That how far your family can go for you. Yeah, I would say without my elderly brother as well, you know, it's a brother-to-brother thing. From friends as well, I was connected to high-profile people outside, socially so, not because of crime, just for my family not to perish. When I got out after released on parole, I went to my parole officer, asked for the permission to be participating in community projects and that. Yes, they did grant me the correctional services, good job that they do. I was rehabilitated very quickly. The inner character started to emerge, like to show you who the true Dumisani is. Prison actually have taken what was hidden inside me and it took it out. When you arrive in prison, the prison visit from your family or friends or anybody, like firstly you'll be classified as a high risk. You call it a big group. But when I went to a group it is whereby like you've got a pleasure of having a physical contact. But remember, the distances must be maintained at time. That is whereby I can hug my wife. Sometimes she can give me a goodbye kiss, just a simple kiss, not that other one. And then you can stay with your family for at least an hour. Sometimes when you are like, you take it to your advantage. So my wife was visiting me very, very often. I remember there was a point whereby I was running short of visits. People from my hometown, my cousins, so even prison, they will see, you know, the Department of Correctional Services, they've got this own social evaluation eye. Because when they look at your visit list, your neighbor, because they ask, how are you related to them? Is your neighbor, is the priest, is your wife? So they can even see, that is how actually your parole is recommended. That means the community outside, they miss you. They are going to receive you. Prison for me was a place for redemption. You know the t-shirt that I'm wearing? I'll always be a cop because nobody untrained me. The skills, I still think and act like a policeman. I went there and consulted with the High Commission office in order for them just to give me an opportunity actually to make a public apology in the media so that the whole South Africa, the whole country, they can see how remorseful I am when I involved myself in crime.